This is Planning Your I Do from You Had Me at I Do. For over a quarter century, You Had Me at I Do has been helping couples say, I do. We bring more than 400 weddings of real-world experience as an officiant and a DJ, and this podcast is packed with what you, as the bride and groom, need to know, what you're wondering about, and what's keeping you up at night. No judgment, no fluff, just real answers and ideas for real planning. Here's today's episode.
Imagine holding a gorgeous, heavy stock wedding invitation. You slide it out, you admire the calligraphy, you flip it over, and printed right at the very bottom, it says cash preferred.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Did you just cringe?
Yeah.
Because today we are looking at why that single sentence breaks a centuries-old social contract. And, how modern couples are desperately trying to rewrite the rules without offending literally everyone they know.
It really is a massive friction point. I mean, the expectations around what we give, and especially how we ask for it, are just deeply ingrained in our cultural DNA.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, welcome to this deep dive. Picture this like you're sitting down for long coffee with two close friends. We were going to discuss one of the absolute most nerve-wracking parts of being a young bride.
Right, which is wedding registries and gift etiquette.
Exactly. And look, I know exactly how much stress you are feeling right now. I mean, you are merging lives, you genuinely need things for your home, and you would probably love some help paying for a honeymoon. But you also have relatives with incredibly strong opinions breathing down your throat about how things should be done.
Oh, and those relatives are rarely shy about sharing those opinions.
They really are not. So we are bringing in some heavy-hitting advice today. We are pulling from 26 years of real-world experience, utilizing wisdom gleaned from standing with over 400 couples on their wedding days.
That is a lot of weddings.
It is so many weddings. But our mission here is to just cut through all the toxic online forum arguments about what is supposedly rude or outdated. We're going to give you practical, jargon-free advice on how to ask for what you actually need. And we want to help you do it thoughtfully, and with genuine gratitude.
Right. And to figure out what to ask for, we first really have to analyze who you are asking, because gift etiquette is entirely dependent on the audience.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean, when you bring two families together, you are rarely just combining two people. You are merging two entirely different cultural histories.
I was reading through the source material, and it struck me that bringing two families together is basically like running two totally different operating systems.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Thanks. Yeah, and they're often just completely incompatible out of the box. I mean, one family's operating system runs exclusively on cash.
Yes. Let us dig into the psychology of that cash-based operating system. Because for a significant number of cultures, think of traditional Italian, Chinese, or many Eastern European weddings, cash gifts are the expected standard.
Right, is just what you do.
Exactly. The entire community basically operates on the premise that they are collectively funding the couple's new life. They expect to hand envelopes directly to the couple at the reception.
Wow. Envelopes right at the party.
Yes. To them, giving money is a symbol of communal wealth building. It is honestly the most supportive thing they can do.
But then, you encounter the other operating system. My family, for instance, falls into this second camp.
The physical gift camp.
Yeah. For them, handing over cash feels incredibly transactional. I mean, it feels cold. To that side of the family, a physical registry full of dishes, towels, and stand mixers is the only polite tradition.
Right, because they want something tangible.
Exactly. They want to envision you using their specific gift in your home for the next 20 years.
And, neither of these operating systems is inherently wrong. The stress for you, the bride, comes from feeling like you have to choose one over the other.
Which you really do not.
No, you do not. Your goal is simply to function as the bridge between them. You just need to communicate in a way that makes everyone feel invited to celebrate. You do not want anyone feeling scolded just because their natural giving instincts do not match some rigid set of rules.
So if we're acting as the bridge between these systems, we really have to talk about the physical interface. I mean, the invitation.
Oh, this is a big one.
It is. Because if half your family wants to give cash and the other half wants to buy a toaster, the temptation is to explain all of this right on the invitation. Just to prevent 100 text messages asking what you want.
Well, the source material is remarkably strict on this exact point. While the etiquette around what kinds of gifts you can ask for has evolved considerably, the golden rule of wedding stationery remains completely untouched.
which is?
Registry information never goes on the actual wedding invitation text. The formal invitation has one strict historical purpose. It is purely to announce the event and invite the person to attend.
Okay, because I was thinking, putting a registry link next to the venue details changes the entire psychology of that piece of paper.
Yeah.
The optics shift immediately from a celebration of love to, well, a demand for sponsorship.
Yes, that is the exact trap. You start looking like you are hosting a fundraiser instead of a wedding.
Right.
So your registry information actually belongs on your wedding website. It spreads organically by word of mouth from your wedding party and your parents.
And what about bridal showers?
Oh, it can absolutely go safely on shower invitations. The entire cultural premise of a bridal shower is to literally shower the couple with physical gifts. So that is totally fine.
Okay, that makes sense. I did notice one small concession in the source material regarding the physical mail, though.
Oh, right, about the separate cards.
Yeah. Putting a separate, small registry card inside the invitation envelope is common in some regions.
Yeah.
I guess many guests actually appreciate not having to hunt down a website link.
Yes, that is an important distinction. Tucking a card into the envelope is acceptable because the text of the actual invitation remains clean. It stays focused solely on the marriage.
It preserves the dignity of the invitation while still, offering the practical information the guests need. But that does create a massive logistical problem. If we cannot put our cash funds on the formal invitation, how do we ask for money on our website in a way that feels warm and appropriate to our guests?
That is the big question.
Because I have looked at these online wedding forums, and the vitriol is just intense. People call honeymoon funds a massive cash grab. They argue it is inherently rude to ask your friends to basically finance your vacation.
Well, we really need to separate internet theory from real-world behavior here. The online heat you are seeing almost exclusively comes from people who are not actually attending your wedding.
Wait, really?
Yes, internet commenters love to debate abstract etiquette in a vacuum because it costs them nothing. But your actual guests, the people taking the time and spending the money to celebrate you, they usually just want to direct their generosity where it will be most appreciated.
I see that. But is there not still an inherent awkwardness in saying, please pay for our hotel? Even if they love you, it feels a little bit like you're sending them a bill.
That is why the mechanism of the request matters just as much as the request itself. The secret to making a cash fund feel appropriate is framing.
Framing, okay.
You must frame the cash request as a specific experience rather than just a generic transaction.
So giving it a narrative.
Precisely.
Right.
Writing a note on your website that says, "We are saving for our trip to Italy," well, that lands completely differently than just writing honeymoon fund.
Oh, yeah. That sounds much warmer.
The source strongly advises breaking the fund down into specific experiences on the registry platform. Ask guests to fund a cooking class in Florence, or maybe a sunset dinner, or a morning snorkeling trip.
I actually love that as a guest. I would much rather buy you a plate of fresh pasta in Florence than just watch $50 vanish into your checking account.
Right, because it gives you a visual.
Exactly.
Oh.
I can picture you actually enjoying the gift.
Yeah.
But what if you are not taking a honeymoon? What if you need a general cash fund for a down payment on a house, or maybe you are paying down student loans?
Those are entirely legitimate goals for a modern couple. If you choose a general cash fund, the tone on your website just must pivot to profound humility.
How does that look in practice?
The recommended phrasing establishes the priority immediately. You would write, "Your presence is the greatest gift. If you would like to contribute, we have set up a fund for our first home."
Well, it is very graceful.
It is. It makes the financial contribution feel entirely optional, and it makes it secondary to their attendance.
Let us talk about the inevitable real-world confrontation, though, because you can have the most beautifully written website in the world, but eventually you're going to get trapped by an aunt at Sunday dinner.
Oh, the Sunday dinner interrogation.
Yes, she's going to interrogate you about why you want cash instead of traditional crystal wine glasses.
Well, that happens because your request challenges her established operating system. She feels confused, and confusion often manifests as criticism.
So what do you do?
You need a simple, rehearsed script to deploy in that exact moment. You smile and say, "We are registered at our website, and we also have a honeymoon fund," if that is easier. And then you deliberately change the subject.
You just pivot.
You pivot. You do not defend the choice. You absolutely do not owe anyone a PowerPoint presentation on your financial goals. You provide the information politely, and you just move the conversation forward.
That honestly takes so much pressure off. But we still have to figure out how to build a registry that caters to the aunt who wants to buy crystal and the friend who wants to fund the snorkeling trip without making the whole thing look chaotic.
Right.
If the families are different operating systems, we basically need some sort of API, like some kind of translation software to make them talk to each other seamlessly.
The hybrid registry is your translation software. This is the setup most highly recommended for navigating diverse backgrounds.
A hybrid registry, so mixing them up.
Yes. You register for actual physical things that you will use alongside the experience funds. So quality kitchen tools, durable luggage, maybe some nice linens.
It feels very similar to curating a playlist for a large wedding reception. You cannot just play obscure jazz, and you cannot just play heavy metal.
No, you would clear the room.
Right, you need a deliberate mix to keep the entire room engaged. And importantly, you need items at every single price point. I mean, if your registry is just $300 espresso machines, a younger friend with a $50 budget feels completely iced out of the celebration.
That is incredibly true. You must deliberately mix in smaller items. A quality coffee grinder, a beautiful serving bowl, a nice set of mixing bowls.
Something accessible.
Yes. This respects the traditional guests who genuinely love the tactile act of picking out a physical gift, wrapping it, and handing it to you. Simultaneously, it respects the modern guests who just want to Venmo you and be done.
There is a fantastic anecdote in the source material that really proves why this hybrid model is so powerful. A couple registered for heady camping gear for their national park honeymoon, but they also had a cash fund.
Oh, I remember this one.
Yeah. An older guest, who was clearly uncomfortable with the idea of transferring money online, bought a very modest physical item from the registry. I think it was that small coffee grinder, actually.
Right, a modest physical item.
But inside the package, this guest tucked a beautiful, handwritten family recipe card. The hybrid model made room for that specific kind of magic.
It honors the guest's desire to give something deeply meaningful in the language they understand best. However, relying heavily on these digital platforms introduces a very modern complication.
Yes, and this is where I really want to wave a giant red flag for the listener. This is the practical danger of dropping the ball on the fine print.
The fine print gets everyone.
It does. We need to talk about platform fees. I was shocked looking at the research. Couples set up these beautiful honeymoon funds, guests contribute $100, and then the couple goes to withdraw the money and realizes they only have $97.
Because the platform took a cut. It is a hidden trap that catches so many couples completely off guard. Platforms like Zola or Honeyfund charge processing fees for handling cash transactions.
I mean, they are businesses.
Right. They are providing a secure payment gateway, and that infrastructure costs money. You just must take 5 minutes up front before you launch your registry to research this mechanism.
You know, I find the ethics of this really tricky. When you discover these fees, what is the most polite way to handle them? Because passing a credit card processing fee onto a guest who is trying to give you a gift feels, well, incredibly tacky to me.
You generally have a few options provided by the platform. The first, and as the source notes, the most gracious choice, is to absorb the fee yourself.
I like that option.
Yes. This means if a guest gives you $100, the platform takes their 2 or 3% out of that and you receive the remainder. The guest's experience feels entirely free and generous on their end.
I strongly agree with absorbing it if you can. It just feels like the standard cost of doing business digitally. But what if absorbing that fee across thousands of dollars of gifts simply is not feasible for the couple?
And then you have to look at the alternative mechanisms. Some platforms automatically add the fee to the guest's total at checkout, acting sort of like a shipping and handling charge.
Okay, so it is transparent at least.
Yes. Others allow the guest to voluntarily check a box to cover the fee so the couple receives the full intended amount. The mechanics just vary wildly.
So what is the best practice?
The primary goal is just that you are not surprised by the policy. If a confused older relative calls you and asks why their receipt shows a strange charge, you need to be able to explain it clearly and honestly.
Make a deliberate choice, understand the math, and then honestly just refuse to lose any sleep over it. Okay, let us push the timeline forward. The registry functioned perfectly, the fees were handled, the wedding day was incredible, and you are finally home. The source material brings up one final, unbreakable rule of etiquette. It is the one thing that bridges the gap between modern convenience and old-school tact.
Thank you notes.
Thank you notes. And I am going to push back on this on behalf of every overwhelmed listener right now.
I anticipate a lot of resistance here, so go ahead.
Well, it is modern times. We live our entire lives digitally.
Yeah.
Writing 100 individual handwritten notes on heavy cardstock sounds like an archaic punishment.
It does take time.
It does. Can we not just send a really thoughtful voice note or maybe a quick video message of us using the gift?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't a personalized text message sent the very next day actually much more immediate and authentic than a piece of cardboard that arrives 3 months later?
I completely understand the appeal of the immediate digital response, but I have to deliver a very firm reality check based on the source material. A handwritten thank you note is completely non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable.
Really. Text messages, voice notes, and automated emails from your registry platform absolutely do not replace the physical note. The timeline is typically within 3 months of the wedding, though obviously sooner is always better, and the rule is absolute. Every single gift gets a note.
Come on. Even a $20 digital gift card from a coworker.
Every single one. Cash, checks, digital gift cards, physical items, and the handmade quilt from your grandmother. They all require a specific written note.
Explain the psychology to me then. Why does a simple piece of paper matter so much more than a heartfelt video message?
It comes back to closure for the giver. This is particularly true in the era of digital transfers and direct-to-door shipping. When a guest buys something off a registry, it often ships directly to your house.
So they never see you open it.
Exactly. And when they contribute to a cash fund, the money just disappears from their account. A physical handwritten note is the only tangible confirmation they receive that their generosity actually reached you.
That makes a lot of sense.
It proves that the gift did not vanish into the digital ether and that you took deliberate time out of your life to acknowledge it.
So it's essentially about the sacrifice of time. The fact that my hand cramped writing it proves I care.
That is a good way to put it, yes. And furthermore, even someone who attended your wedding but gave you absolutely nothing still gets a note.
Wait, a note for nothing?
Yes. You are thanking them for their presence, for the effort it took to celebrate with you. If someone sent a gift but could not attend, the note must mention the gift specifically and express sincere regret that you missed seeing them.
Look, if we are forced to do this, how do we avoid sounding like a robot? I mean, writing the exact same sentence 100 times sounds like a recipe for total burnout.
Specificity is the mechanism that prevents burnout, and it is what makes the note meaningful. A generic note saying, "Thank you for the generous gift," is just hollow.
Right, because you could send that to anyone.
Precisely. It provides no closure. Compare that to a note that says, "Thank you for the heavy-duty stand mixer. We have already made 3 batches of chocolate chip cookies, and we are entirely blaming you for our expanded waistlines."
Oh, that is so much better. That proves you actually unboxed it. It shows you are actively building your life with it.
Yeah.
But what about the cash gifts?
For cash, you must tell the giver what their money accomplished. Do not just say thanks for the check. Say, "Your generous contribution to our honeymoon fund paid for the most incredible sunset dinner looking over the cliffs in Santorini."
Love that.
People fundamentally want to feel like they contributed to your joy. Specific details provide that vital feeling of connection.
Even with all those great tips, staring down a list of 100 addresses is still incredibly daunting. What is the actionable strategy for getting this done?
First, do not treat this as a solo project. You just entered a partnership. This is basically your very first joint administrative task as a married couple.
Yeah, split it up.
Split the list right down the middle. One partner should absolutely not bear the burden of writing 90 notes while the other does nothing. Set a strict, realistic pace.
Like what?
Decide you will each write 5 notes a week or maybe 10 notes over Sunday morning coffee. Treat it like a firm deadline. Guests who stretch their budgets to give generously will absolutely notice your silence if you fail to send a note. But a warm, specific handwritten note is something they will remember favorably for years.
That is a complete perspective shift. The notes are not a chore. They are actually the final opportunity to make your loved ones feel valued.
Precisely.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I really want to anchor back to our core mission today. Do not let angry online forum arguments or an aunt's outdated expectations steal your joy during this season. Planning a wedding is a massive logistical undertaking.
It really is.
But your wedding is a milestone, not a gift grab. The people showing up are investing in your marriage, not your table settings. Your only genuine job in all this is gratitude. Receive their love generously. Use the hybrid model to make it easy for them, and then just let the stress go.
Navigating these distinct operating systems and translating modern convenience into traditional manners is a lot to manage. But there are excellent resources out there to help you structure all of this seamlessly.
Absolutely. For more planning tools, timelines, and solid advice on handling these specific interpersonal dynamics, you can visit YouHadMe at ido.app. They have fantastic resources for figuring out the logistics of your big day without all the accompanying anxiety.
And this brings us to a really fascinating final idea to ponder. We have spent this entire conversation focusing intently on how to graciously receive gifts as a bride and how to manage the varied expectations of your guests. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, it challenges our own behavior. If a wedding gift is truly an investment in a couple's marriage, rather than just a simple transaction to supply a kitchen appliance, how might this change the way we evaluate the gifts we choose to give others the next time we are invited to be a guest?
Wow. That completely flips the script.
Yeah.
It takes us right back to the dinner party scenario we started with. The social contract of a modern wedding kind of shattered that simple idea of just bringing a bottle of wine.
It certainly did.
The expectations got complicated and the mechanisms got completely digital. But maybe if we approach both giving and receiving with genuine intentionality, clear communication, and a whole lot of grace, we can piece that beautiful social contract back together again. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Take a deep breath, write your thank you notes, and enjoy your celebration.
You've been listening to Planning Your I Do from You Had Me at I Do. Show notes, planning help, and ceremony support are at youhadmeatido.com/podcast. Subscribe so you don't miss the next episode, and send it to a bride friend who needs answers instead of more stress at 2 in the morning. Thanks for listening.